That's not an eagle feather, is it?
Isla 5
Mateo. Thank you.
It's a crossroads.
Check, check, check.
It's just
Okay, we're about ready to get started with some speakers over here. We're just going to gravitate to the center. Hopefully these speakers turn around so you guys can hear it over in the center over there. I'm going to turn this. Can you turn that?
Yeah. The trouble is we need another stand.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Peter, for handling that. That was Rosie Torres, the Society of Native Nations, and one of the first statements we made when we opened up down here, when there was about 12 of you here. It's got changed a little bit. This is a little different. I'm going to set this up here. We're going to have our speakers over here. It's a little linear spot, so I know it's awkward. Check, check, check. Is it still going? Am I close enough to the mic? So we've got a few speakers coming up. The plan is to offer what we can, words here outside of the offices, local offices of U.S. Rep. Hurd. We're going to talk a little bit about that and connected issues here in San Antonio. So I'm going to step around. Actually, let me back up just a little bit, and then folks can come around in the front. I know these guys. They don't want us back there on the Federal, so why don't we walk around towards the front, those of you in the back. I will, yeah, thank you. I will. Check. Sound okay? Okay. Well, my name is Greg Harmon. I work with the Sierra Club. And the Sierra Club National has been, you've heard of it, okay. Has been a big driver in the impeach movement, and it's been nice. It feels like a new organization in a lot of ways for that reason. And when we present here in San Antonio, we talk about that because we are much more than where we've been, which is about, you know, a pretty picture, an Ansel Adams photograph, right? We're working with frontline communities all around the country, and kind of what I wanted to first kind of bring in some agreements to what we're doing here. And some of you might have heard I interjected about, you know, engaging. If someone comes by in a MAGA hat yelling obscenities, what are we going to do?
Nothing.
We're not responding to that nonsense. That's how we get dragged in. These are the trolls. These are the foot soldiers. They're out to disrupt and keep us from being effective and having a good time with each other and getting our message out. So part of our agreements and security is on us, right? Yes. We do have some Brown Berets. 2 factions of Brown Berets have joined up for tonight, and a lot of respect and a lot of appreciation. So, okay, thank you. So if you do have a situation anywhere along this route, we're going to organize. We're grounded here for a minute. We're going to be marching down Chavez to Alamo and up to Alamo Plaza. It's a 1-mile march. So if you're not up for that, let somebody know. If you need assistance, let us know. But the most important part about security and the security message is that you all get to know each other. Went dead?
You have to face this way.
Check. There it is. I'm not ignoring y'all behind me. But the most important part is for y'all to meet each other. So if there's someone standing next to you you don't know, get to know their name. Let them know that you're watching out for them. Ask them to keep an eye on you. These marches in San Antonio are usually pretty good, pretty easy. When Trump was elected, we did see the contingent come out. They wanted you to see that they had large guns. Okay, so that happens too. And that's why we don't engage. That's not a point for antagonism. That's not the point of being there. So we are peacekeepers, all of us. You are designated right now as a peacekeeper. Use your cameras to document, boost this message. We talked about tagging Hurd. You know, use that. And we are a peaceful, above all else, a peaceful, nonviolent rally. As we march, pay attention to your neighbors. Not everybody can walk on a crooked sidewalk the same. Some folks may be mobility impaired or challenged. There may be young people with us. They're elderly. So just be aware of who's with you and how we're moving through the city. Again, I don't have to go back to where we are. Police may be here assisting with traffic, closing down a lane. They're not the enemy tonight. We're not here to pick fights with SAPD. They're here to manage traffic. We're here to manage ourselves. Okay? So if you see check a Brown Beret over here, thank them for being here. Thank them for helping us. Ask them how you can be assistance to their work.
In case I cannot keep up with you, tell me right now in this microphone, what is the main point of this protest?
Yeah. So the point is that we are here, and I shared this in a couple of emails, but we're here because we care about each other. We care about this land that we inhabit, and we're committed to the liberation of all beings, right? And so this is a hate-free zone. We don't tolerate trans, gay, homophobia, misogyny, any of that stuff. Racism. We may walk you out if you start spouting off this kind of stuff.
Why should Trump should be impeached?
Yeah, give me a second to deliver the message. And so Ukraine, right? Yes. In San Antonio, however, for all those who live here, it doesn't necessarily resonate what's being talked about in the articles of impeachment. We know where it is, what's going on, the geopolitics, maybe not so much Russia, but we know how this administration has been affecting people in San Antonio and South Texas. And we know from the day one, Trump has been engaging in impeachable offenses. It just hasn't come to this point for our House for some reason. And so we hear about his assaults on women and bragging about it. We hear about the payoffs. We watch as they create concentration camps on our border. They create walls to separate people. And all of this now calling out to Russia and China unabashedly, come and tinker with our democracy for us. So, all of this, denying the right of asylum, attacking and targeting people of color and Muslims, denying that we even have an international rights of the child, stalking of gay and trans people online, and all in the service of continuing white supremacy in this country. And we see it and we say no. We've had it. We see it and we reject it, and we need impeach and remove Donald Trump. So these elections right now may seem the language small, but our concerns are big. The integrity of our elections, we know, is the foundation of a functioning democracy. The Sierra Club, even though we love our Ansel Adams pictures, right, and a nice place to pitch a tent, we also know that we need democracy in this country in order to protect communities who are under attack by big polluters. We know that we need a functional democracy to get a grip on climate change. And that this election, if we fail and this election goes that way, we know that the power of this country and this presidency is such that we may not recover globally. And so when I come into this, I come into it with my place, my language, my concerns, and this is major, but I know a lot of other people come from other places with other concerns, and those who are being subjected to violence most directly are going to be speaking to us tonight. And so I do want to point y'all back over to Hurd. I hope y'all are bird dogging him and continue to do that. But I also want to say, just in terms of impeachment and Hurd's defense of standing with this personality cult, even as he's on his way out, he's going to go down with the personality cult of the emperor, the would-be fascist Donald Trump. He says everybody has their own definition of what impeachment is. And that's absolutely not true. You go to the Harvard Law Review and they say there is a majority opinion that a president can legally be impeached for intentional evil deeds that drastically subvert the Constitution and involve unforgivable abuse of the presidency. And these may not be laws. These are norms, these are understandings, and these are our values. And so his position is bankrupt, and he needs to come clean, because this is his legacy. This is all we're going to remember of him when he walks out of here. So I'm going to cut short. And do some introductions. We had Rosie Torres, the Society of Native Nations, offering up recognition of the Four Directions. And we have another presenter here behind me. We're going to have a quick interfaith welcome from Sister Eliza, and after her is Katie Merzda of SA Stands. If either one of you are nearby, I'm ready for you. There you are. Thank you.
All right. Hello, everyone. Hello. Hello. Can we testing? Can you hear me? No. Is there any way?
I think if you step here, lean that way, just into it loud.
Into it loud. Okay, so I want to do a chant together. I want you to chant together to start with. It goes like this. I'm going to say forward together, and you're going to say not one step back. Are you ready? Forward together.
Not one step back.
Forward together.
Not one step back.
Forward together.
Not one step back.
And now I want you to turn to someone who you didn't come with, someone who you don't know, and I want you to say, you only get what you're organized to take.
What you're organized to take.
Forward together.
Not one step back.
You only get what you're organized to take.
What you're organized to take.
Okay, so now shake hands, introduce yourself to your new organizing partner. Your new community. Forward together. Forward together.
One step back.
Greetings, everyone. I come in peace. I represent an interfaith coalition of believers in a true faith, a great spirit, as the indigenous people call it, our ancestors, our peoples that are always with us. I come representing Jesus Christ, but I come representing a Jesus Christ that accepts all ways to the truth. Muslim, Hindu, wicked, interfaith, humanist, we can all raise our voices and send energy up into the sky, into each other, and into this movement. And so with this in mind, I want to offer an opening prayer. So if you could please center yourself in whatever way you choose to honor the great creator being that is this life force, that is this breath of justice, okay? We call upon the great creator spirit to be with us in wisdom and strength.
Nobody can hear you.
I can't, your mic isn't working.
It's working now.
Okay, we call upon the great creator spirit to be with us and to provide us wisdom and strength to move forward bravely and to move forward together. We remember, oh Spirit, the victims of violence and injustice that have been wrought upon the poor and the oppressed, and especially people of color, especially our indigenous brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers, by the interlocking evils of systemic racism, social inequality, militarism, and ecological devastation. We now offer our petitions, silently or aloud, as we remember the fallen and the victims of this great oppression. For the children at the border. For the black men enslaved in America. Call yours out. Name it. Our collective pain. Name it.
No problem. Everyone at the border.
Our Mother Earth.
Name it. Name our collective pain. Name it.
A terrible history of racism.
Refugees.
Demise of our democracy.
Great creator spirit, in your infinite wisdom and in a multitude of ways, you show us that being held accountable for one's actions and holding others accountable for their actions is a necessary articulation of your infinite love and of healthy human relationships. In this, we pray. In this, we ask that Mr. Trump be held accountable for his actions to the full justice of the law. And we ask that we may move forward bravely with commitment and with righteous love, from which forth justice for the troubled and for the oppressed springs forward. We ask this through the great saints and prophets and ancestors that we name here either silently or aloud.
Amen.
But if I may, folks, I come from a Judeo-Christian tradition that believes that a God of justice is with the oppressed. And I believe that this meeting right here, we are all being called to be a part of bringing about loving justice righteous justice to this President of the United States. Forward together.
Not one step back.
Forward together.
Not one step back.
Forward together.
Not one step back.
You only get
What you organize.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think we're ready. Okay.
Hi, my name is Katie Mirza, and I'm an organizer with SA Stands. SA Stands is a coalition of organizations fighting for immigrant rights in San Antonio and Bexar County. I can hear you.
Really touch it.
I'm speaking on behalf of SA Stands, which is an organization, a coalition of organizations fighting for immigrant rights in San Antonio and Bexar County. SA Stands is here with all of you in solidarity with people around the country demanding that Trump be impeached tomorrow on obstruction and abuse of power. This must happen, but it is not enough. We also have to hold our government accountable for all of its harmful and illegal behaviors, including its unending malicious attacks on immigrants. Over the past year, almost 60,000 asylum seekers have been returned to danger in Mexico under the MPP program. Hundreds have subsequently suffered violent attacks, including rape, kidnapping, and even murder. Thousands of people, including children, are in unofficial refugee camps in horrible conditions right across the border from Laredo and Brownsville, not far from where we are now. Now the asylum cooperation agreements are sending people directly back to Guatemala and soon Honduras, even if they are not from those countries, with no chance to seek asylum here. In the world, I imagine these two would be considered impeachable offenses.
That's right.
These two would be considered crimes against humanity.
Yes.
They are violations of international and our federal law.
Yes.
Some 2020 candidates have based their immigration platforms only on undoing Trump's attacks. This must happen, but it also is not enough. Recent policy changes have critically worsened a situation that we have had for our entire history. There has been no president or Congress who has treated immigration as the humanitarian issue that it is, instead of a criminal or security one. Every proposed improvement protects one group at the expense of another. While some have gone further than others, no 2020 candidate has taken a strong enough stand on immigration to protect every immigrant. Some have pledged to repeal Section 1325, which allows immigrants to be criminally prosecuted for crossing the border and allowed zero tolerance in a family separation policy. Some have pledged to repeal portions of the 1996 immigration laws that criminalized immigration and destroyed our communities.
Fired.
This, again, must happen, but it is not enough. These proposals still center around separating the worthy immigrants from some fictional group of unworthy immigrants. We have divided our society into those who must pay for their mistakes only once in the criminal justice system, and others who, with even a minor offense, can be deported, sometimes to their death, because they are being asked to pay a second time in the immigration system. SA Stands is honored to be here demanding what must happen tomorrow, but the impeachment will only be the very beginning. We will need all of your help on the long road ahead to demand much more. Thank you. To conclude, when I say no hate, no fear, please say immigrants are welcome here. No hate, no fear!
Immigrants are welcome here!
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 Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah. So I've got, I'm hoping, how's the mic? How's the mic? Araceli Herrera, if you're here, Domésticas Unidas. Okay, let me add one more. Come on up here. Here's one. Someone texted me. I said, "What's a good chance?" And here's a new one for me. What is our belief? Now guess that. Jail to the chief. All right. So when we are marching, we're going to try out some new ones, but we got other ones that were good on standby. Araceli Herrera, Domésticas Unidas. Bienvenidos.
Buenas noches, ¿me escuchan? Bueno, yo voy a hablar fuerte, 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 fuerte. Estoy aquí por no solo las trabajadoras del hogar, estoy aquí por todos los trabajadores que hemos sido ofendidos, humillados por este gobierno, que nos han ido quitando poco a poco los derechos que como trabajadores hemos ganado por años de lucha. Y no lo digo solo yo, porque todos los trabajadores que han luchado en este país, está en la historia la sangre que han derramado, las mujeres que fueron quemadas en las fábricas, que se celebra el Día Internacional de la Mujer, los mártires de Chicago, todos esos trabajadores que dieron su vida para ganar derechos. ¿Y ahora qué? Llega este tipo que es un ladrón, que es un tramposo, y nos está quitando ese derecho, el derecho a huelga, el derecho a las 8 horas, el derecho a un salario decente, un salario para dar de comer a nuestra familia, un salario digno, un salario para poder pagar la casa y todas las cosas, las necesidades que tenemos. ¿Qué pasa? Ahora tenemos salarios de hambre, tenemos salarios de miseria, porque día a día, con todos sus secuaces, las transnacionales vende y roba toda la materia prima de los países y permite que estos países destruyan el planeta, que destruyan el ambiente. No respeta el ambiente, no respeta el planeta, no respeta el derecho de la tierra, el derecho de los animales, el derecho de las plantas, el derecho del ciclo de vida humano, no lo respeta, y por esa razón debe de irse, regresar a la cloaca de mierda de donde salió, porque salió de una cloaca de mierda, por eso tiene dinero. Que se regrese allá y que nos deje a la gente que amamos el planeta y a los trabajadores que sigamos luchando. Gracias.
Thank you, Araceli. Thank you. Wonderful, wonderful woman. We've got the district director from Lloyd Doggett's office here to make a statement on the congressman's part. Come on in here.
Thank you so much. Welcome, American patriots. Welcome, defenders of democracy. My name is Mary Ellen Bellis, and I'm here on behalf of Congressman Lloyd Doggett. It is so good to see so many familiar faces, friends, new folks, folks from Move On, Indivisible, SA Stands, Domésticas Unidas, all of you who join us tonight. I bring greetings from Congressman Doggett that I will read for you. We are here because no one, not even the president, is above the law.
That's right.
I have long supported impeachment efforts. Many of you may have read my piece in the Rivard Report earlier this year, and if you missed it, I have shared my thoughts with the Express News, which will be in the paper tomorrow morning.
Yes.
The impeachment inquiry has never been a whodunit. Trump confessed he did it. His own appointees confirmed it.
Yes.
Then his chief of staff told Americans to get used to his misconduct. Our choice is clear. Between the sworn testimony of patriotic military and foreign service officers who selflessly risked their careers versus a president engaged in selfish criminality. If any Trump staffer had evidence to show his innocence, they would have testified.
Yes.
Instead, his Republican enablers had offered no real defense. Trump blocked access to both witnesses and documents while engaging in character assassination and witness intimidation.
Yes.
Trump withheld $400 million in taxpayer money for Ukraine's
much-needed military assistance for his own personal political benefit, endangering our national security and threatening the integrity of our elections. Trump insists that while president, he can neither be investigated nor persecuted for any type of crime, and further, that he can ignore any impeachment proceedings which he disapproves. These are claims of a wannabe tyrant.
Yes.
And all of this at a time when the president extols autocrats from Istanbul to Manila to Moscow.
Yes.
We cannot allow the president to invite foreign interference in our elections, or we will never have a free election again.
Yes.
And without free elections, we are no longer free.
Yes.
And even more troubling than Trump's wrongdoings are his Republican congressional enablers.
Yes.
Who continue to empower him. Whatever happens at the impeachment trial with these enablers whom truth and reality are seldom friends, all of us must work together to hold them accountable in November.
Yes.
Let's stand for our freedom and against the radical disregard of our Constitution. You know why I can't be here in person? Because I'm in Washington, where tomorrow, with my strong support, the House of Representatives will finally impeach the wannabe autocrat Donald J.
Trump. Thank you. We've got two more speakers, and if you haven't noticed, we have the street. We couldn't get the street from the city till 6. You're able to step back, breathe a little bit. We've got some room. We've got two speakers and a powerful poem. I hope that you can let that resonate. But I've got to say, just looking out and being with you all is the most beautiful thing that I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
And it has to be. And the reason I mention love is because that's the thing that endures. Our anger, our vitriol, our just this frustration, all that comes because we care for something. You know, we may call it our country, we may call it our family, we may call it our communities, but it comes from that place, and that's what's holding us. And so when we talk about security and being together, knowing each other, coming into space together, these are the ones we're holding safe tonight when we walk. There's folks on the fringes. There's folks on the fringes of this action right now who want to draw you out. I'm just going to say again, just walk on by, take care of your neighbor, get close, and we're going to be planning something real soon at the end of this March, hopefully, for our next action. Julian Villarreal, the Bexar County Green Party, and then we've got David Zamora Casas, a beautiful, beautiful person here, to read Fuck 45 by Victoria Garcia Zapata. Yeah, come on right now.
I'll be very brief. So that we can start marching. Our system supports so much corruption that we have to get to this absurd point with un presidente pendejo como Trump. Yeah. For the people to wake up, pero qué bueno que la gente se despierte. I also want to say that we've been fighting a war for 18 years in Afghanistan. $2 trillion wasted. Thousands of lives, U.S. servicemen, hundreds of thousands of innocent people have died. And what have we gotten for it? Nothing. That is also a crime. Es un crimen de lesa humanidad que nunca será juzgada. We must think about all of the crimes that continue to be perpetrated in our name because of a corrupt system that only allows us to fight over the crumbs, las migas, las migajas. So as we march, let's demand justice, justicia. Hay que luchar por la dignidad humana.
Yeah. Thank you, Julian. And David, you want to come in? And I hope you all can tune an ear here. Okay.
Buenas tardes. I want you guys to all use your imagination. This poem is written by a woman named Victoria Garcia Zapata. She's much prettier than I, but I want you to use your imagination.
Alrighty then. Alrighty then.
Nice. Look pretty. Fuck Trump. Sometimes I just want to scream. I want to cry out, "Fuck you, Mr. President," right to his devilish face. But that would be just as hateful and vicious as his careless words.
Yes.
His venomous rhetoric, his "go back to where you came from," his "grab him by the pussy," his "Mexico sends rapists and murderers," his calling the mass murderers terrorists of our troubled country the white supremacist fine people. I'm sick of it all, tired of repeating his hateful lies in these lines. But I'm even more tired of hearing lies, tired of fake news that he spits out on a daily basis. Plain exhausted by living in a world where climate change is not being dealt with in the most urgent matter, where children live in cages in the United States, where honeybees are endangered species, where the natural plant life is at risk of extinction, where animals are being slaughtered. With all our science and technology, we still face the threat of AIDS, cancer, where genocide still exists, where wildlife itself is engulfed in flames, and those in power twiddle their thumbs. And I'm part of the problem, though I'm trying not to be. Still, I drive a gasoline-fueled car. Still, I consume energy. Still, I consume, and I don't do enough. All I have is these words to try to counter hate. Sometimes words are all that's necessary. Sometimes. All right. Fuck Donald Trump!
Trump, 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 Trump.
I am just one brown face, here to reflect on the atrocities of today at the White House of the United States of America. Blatant racism, hate mongering, and the diverse petty mierda. I'm here as the voice of mis abuelos. I'm here as the voice of my aunts and my uncles and my friends. We are mestizos americanos. America has been built on the suffering of indigenous people of color. With the president trompudo in office, indigenous people are still suffering throughout the world. We are the artists. We are here to tell the story. We are they, the elders and the children in a diverse community of people known as humanity. We are the magic touch of the twin spirit indigenous shaman. We are the kiss on the lips of a pioneering, gender-bending, androgynous questioning self. We are the gentleness and the knowledge of the strong, trailblazing woman. We are the honor and pride of the free Negro slaves. We are the people of this city and this river, which is its corazón.
Right.
We are the beating blood, pulsing veins of the future of this country's children. This is San Antonio, Texas, in the United States of America, the greatest country in the world. A country where all men are created equal with undeniable rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. A country where truth, dignity, respect, and honor are losing their meaning. We are America, a world leader of countries, a country built on the sweat, blood, tears, dreams of immigrants and indigenous American inhabitants. We are, always have been, and always will be America the Great. We shall resist oppression, we shall resist lies, resist bigotry, resist prejudice, resist hate. We raise our voices from Yanaguana. I invoke the ancestors of this land to bring a message of hope and resilience. I ask the wisdom of the ancient guardians of the sky to help us get through these difficult times. Impeach and remove. I speak from the place of family values and inclusion as a caballero, a gentleman. I am an American of color who believes in dignity, truth, and respect. My wish, my prayer, our demand is for a safe, healthy future for every person in our United States of America. Impeach and remove Donald Trumpudo! All women, all gays, all lesbians, all transgender, all children, all women, all men, we are all created equal, regardless of the color of our skin and regardless of our spiritual beliefs. Nothing is too wonderful to be true. Nothing is too wonderful to be true. Make America beautiful again. Impeach and remove Donald Trumpudo!
Yes, thank you.
Ho, ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho!
We're gonna line up. Did anybody bring lights? You can see the lights. I see some lights over there. I got a few lights. Here's the light. Okay, let's line up out here if we can. Are any of those speakers able to come with us? Too big?
Yeah, kind of clumsy. If we had some strong people to walk on their shoulder or something, maybe that would work. But still, that's.
Is anybody feeling really gritty, grainy buff that wants to carry a large speaker,
I'm not feeling any of that, but I'll carry it.
Or a cart, or a baby stroller. Just throw in our trunk. Y'all want to try to take that on?
Well, this gentleman has said he's got the grit. I know it. Yeah.
You want to check it out? It's on the bus stop over there.
I'll walk over to him.
Also, we have 2-foot lettering, impeached lettering. Maybe if you can get the lettering.
Sure.
We want to be able to carry that with good folks who aren't going to peel off. It's only a mile we're walking. It is a little cold, but if you grab a letter, you're in it to win it. It's coming out. Marisol just ran back to get that for us.
He doesn't jump anymore because he has arthritis, so enjoy it while you can. Yeah, I think what we're going to do is, sorry, I don't know.
Small train and all other.
Playing it by ear a little bit. I'm encouraging.
Move, Trump! Get out of the way! Impeach and remove! 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 Impeach and remove!
I'm a performance artist. My name is Sister Elijah.
Where's the destination?
To Houston and Alamo. Right at the federal building right there. So we're just going to go to Alamo and turn right.
There's like 5 people that made this, so be gentle. Yeah, they're coming up here.
Let's go. Get out the way. Get out the way. Trump, get out the way. Move, Trump. Get out the way. Get out the way. Trump, get out the way. Move, Trump.
Hey, Liza, hold on for a minute. We're trying to get our speaker and stuff like that lined up. We're getting some what the hells, but I think it's okay if we wait to get the speaker.
Matters. The Constitution 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 matters. Constitution matters. Constitution matters.
No Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA. No Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA.
No Trump. No KKK. No fascist USA. No Trump. No
No KKK, no fascist USA. No Trump. No KKK, no fascist USA. No Trump. No KKK, no fascist USA.
Fuck Donald Trump.
If I say dump, you say Trump. Dump! Trump! Dump! Trump! If I say dump, you say Trump. Dump! Trump!
Good waiting. That was good. Nice pause.
This is what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like.
My notes on that. Actually, yeah.
This is what democracy looks like.
On deceleration.
This is what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like.
No hate, no fear. Immigrants are welcome here. No hate, no fear. Immigrants are welcome here. No hate, no fear. Immigrants are welcome here. No hate, no fear. Immigrants are welcome here.
No hate, no fear. Immigrants are welcome here. No hate, no fear. Immigrants are welcome here. No hate, no fear. Immigrants are welcome here. No hate.
Up with liberation, down with deportation. Up with liberation, down with deportation. Up with liberation, down with deportation. Tear down the wall. Tear down the wall. Refugee. International law of the refugee.
¡Que se vaya Trump! ¿Cuándo? ¡Mañana! ¿Qué es lo que queremos? ¡Que se vaya Trump! ¿Cuándo? ¡Mañana! ¿Qué es lo que queremos?
¡Viva Trump!
¿Qué es lo que queremos? ¡Que se vaya Trump! ¿Qué es lo que queremos? ¡Que se vaya Trump! ¿Cuándo? ¡Mañana!
Show us what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. Show us what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. Show us what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. Show us what democracy looks like. This is 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 what democracy looks like.
I think the speaker is way up in front of us.
This is what democracy looks like. 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 This is what democracy looks like.
Okay, I'm going to try to get up towards the front again.
This is what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like.
I'm guessing we have about, I don't know, maybe 600 or 700 people that ended up down here. We weren't sure what we were going to see. We've just been up at the federal building on Chavez.
What do we want? Now! What do we want? Impeachment! What do we want? Now!
What do we want?
Impeachment!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Impeachment!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Impeachment!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Impeach Trump!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Impeachment!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Impeachment!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Impeachment!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Impeachment!
Let's show these people on the side of the road what democracy looks like.
What do we do when democracy's under attack?
Fight back!
What do we do? Democracy's under attack! Stand up! Fight back!
Constitutional republic!
Yeah, but you said no justice! No justice!
When democracy is under attack!
There we go. We're on the street. On the street, San Antonio, Texas. Yeah. Taking down Donald Trump. Standing up, U.S. Rep. Will Hurd. Expecting him to break with this cult of personality they built up. Let me see if I can get ahead here.
This is what democracy looks like! This is what democracy looks like! Bring the Chinese encampment! This is what democracy
Sorry, we're not engaging. We're not engaging with these guys.
This is what democracy looks like!
Hey, hey, ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go! Hey, hey, ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go!
The Constitution matters! 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 Constitution matters!
Sorry about all that yelling. I've realized I had this button mic on me. But we're down in San Antonio, Texas. Beautiful night in San Antonio, Texas. On the eve of the... But it seems to be cutting in and turning out. We've got about, down here, a couple of knuckleheads on the side, but we're doing pretty good other than that. Yeah, try to win! You can't win this.
This is what democracy looks like! This is what democracy looks like! Our streets! Our streets! Our streets! Our streets!
We're calling out Representative Hurd. He played a little bit with Beto. Played this game.
Good job, Greg. Thank you.
There we go. Here's the message. Lift that P up. Let me see what you got. Woo! Yeah, there's the impeach right there. Excellent. You guys look awesome. Look at Terry. Look at Mr. Lynn. Love it. Does anybody want to say anything out on the live stream? We'll watch it down. Walk him up. Speak in here. Don't Trump. We can do that.
No complacency.
That sounds complicated. Can I work a chant around that? All right, check it out. No complacency. This is a no complacency zone. I'm coming after you. I want to hear about this. Come over here. Tell me what motivated you to come out here tonight.
Well, my husband said that with everything going on and this is happening, we have to be a part of it. You have to drop everything and represent.
Yeah. Yeah. There is no other tonight.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We
fantastic.
can't get tired. We can't let it go.
Did you come from San Antonio? Are you in San Antonio? Okay.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you for being here.
And I'm wearing a skirt I got in St. Petersburg, Russia,
Yeah.
and my boots are
We're
from St. Petersburg.
anti-Russia.
And I do not
people
want
of
a Russian
Russia.
asset to be
Yeah.
president of this country.
Yeah. Very good. Thank you.
Asshat or anything.
You want to talk about what brought you to the march today?
No.
You're good?
Lock him up! 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 Lock him up!
I'm going to run back to the front. You got it? Okay, try and get back to the front of the line here. He goes, these dudes, they're here to fight. He's got his gloves on. Yeah. This is what democracy looks like. Yeah. There's about 6 or 7 that are bunching up here. All right. I'm going to open the front. I'm going to go back up to the front, yeah. I think he's some better visuals. Hey, hey, ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go! Hey, ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go! Hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go! Donald Trump has got to go. When our people are under attack, what do we do? When our people are under attack, what do we do? When our people are under attack, what do we do? When our people are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. This is what democracy looks like. 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 Here they are. Here's what San Antonio is doing on their Tuesday night.
This is what democracy looks like.
600-700 people lining up on the street, trying for the impeachment of 45. Ho ho!
Donald Trump has got to go.
Hey hey! Ho ho! Donald Trump has got to go. Hey hey! Ho ho! Donald Trump has got to go. Hey hey! Ho ho! Donald Trump has got to go. Hey hey! Ho ho! Donald Trump has got to go, 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 go! Hey, ho! Donald Trump has got to go, 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 go! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go, 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 go! Ho, Donald Trump has got to go, ho, ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go!
Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go! Hey, hey!
Up with liberation! Down, down with deportation!
Up with liberation!
Down, down with deportation!
Oh, wait.
Yeah. That's right. That's all right. He's doing his little thing. There's the Trumpers, the maggots.
Donald Trump has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Donald Trump has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Donald Trump has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go, hey, hey. Ho, ho. Donald Trump has got to go, hey, hey. Ho, ho. Donald Trump has got to go, hey, hey. Ho, ho. Donald Trump has got to go, hey, hey. Ho, ho. Donald Trump has got to go, hey, hey. Ho, ho. Donald Trump has got to go, hey, hey.
Donald Trump has got to go, hey, hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go, hey, hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go, hey, hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go, hey, hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go, hey, hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go, hey, hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go, hey, hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go, hey, hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go, hey, hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go, hey, hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go, hey, hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go, hey, hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go, hey, hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go, hey, hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go, hey, hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go, hey, hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go, hey, hey! Ho, ho!
All right, you guys got to give yourselves some applause.
Yeah. San Antonio, Texas. Texaslandia. Way to turn out. Way to turn out. SA stands. Looking good. All right, now we've got in the back now these impeached letters. Why don't you guys come up on the steps behind us? We got a message here for Donald Trump. Yeah, you guys have been real patient. You've been real patient with some of our suckerfish on the way. I applaud you. I respect you.
Sierra Club woman who asked the other speaker.
Oh yeah, and there's somebody with Sierra Club that has another speaker somewhere. Oh, here's the P. I'm just gonna have a little P, then I'll be in the background. Hey. Yeah, so we've got more speakers here. We want to, bring this back around. We started off over here on Chavez at the Federal Building, where U.S. Rep heard. Hopefully his staff heard us. If he's up there bootlicking with Trump in Washington right now. And I will tell you, and I told him on his Facebook, I said, this is your legacy. You're dropping out of Congress now. You think you're going somewhere. This is what America remembers of you. It's not the little road trip you took with Beto and the bipartisan, the Facebook, whatever. This is the vote. If you care about your country, you're here with us. If you care about, you're representing the entire, this big old line of the U.S.-Mexico border where all these children are being swept up, torn away from their family. What have you done? Nothing. He does nothing. And he goes back in and defends his boss. The would-be fascist, his cult of personality the Republican Party has become is a shame. Someday they'll come back to their senses and then we'll be, letting them in a side door, maybe if they have good behavior. So anyway, thank y'all so much. There's so much respect and so much appreciation for what you're doing here today. We have a really powerful poem. We're trying to mix in, there's things that you can't say in an angry march, even though if you're speaking with love and it comes out in an aggressive way because you're frustrated, because you're passionate, because people are being torn apart and their lives are being thrown away for no good reasons other than one person's narcissistic personality disorder and the system that empowers that, right? So we started out the march, we're saying, okay, Ukraine, okay, but this has been going on, and it wasn't just this president, this is way back, this is way before that, and we just reached that point where we just don't know what to do anymore, and the things that have been laid out, these articles, I'm with it. Believe me, I'm with it. It's real. This oppression it is everywhere. Every time he tweets, he's intimidating a child somewhere, right? And that's unacceptable. That's not what we don't stand that. So I do want to bring in my partner, Marisol Cortez. We are streaming, I hope, and I see many of y'all are. Hashtag that somehow, somewhere. I sent an email with some hashtags or something, so hopefully something like that. But Deceleration, we've been carrying this around. Deceleration on Facebook, deceleration.news website. We're streaming this all. We're getting the speakers. But Marisol Cortez is up here. She's going to be reading a poem actually written by Anel Flores. Does anybody here know Anel? Okay. This is breaking news. It's not okay.
So if those of you who don't know Anel, she wanted to be here tonight, but she's out of town, and so she gave me permission to read her piece. It's called Breaking News, It's Not Okay. And Anel is a queer Chicana artist, visual artist, and a writer, and this is a very powerful piece that I heard her perform a couple of places. She wrote it after the Pulse nightclub shooting. So before the election of Donald Trump, but kind of when he was a candidate and stuff was ramping up rhetorically, the stuff he was saying about people, different groups of people, and now it's worse. It's worse. And so her words still apply today. Breaking news. It's not okay. June 12th, 2016. 49 shot dead and 53 injured at gay nightclub Pulse in Orlando, Florida. June 13th at 10:15 a.m., the day after. I called my mom because I longed for the feeling of being a baby, the feeling of being held, a space to safely crumble and cry. And like my Mexican mommy who raised me on fresh frijoles, tortillas, and peace be with you, she asked, "Are you okay?" I said no, and wanted to tell her why, but she interrupted me before I could elaborate or spit out any feelings. She told me, "We need to pray, mija. The Virgencita, Jesucristo, is waiting for us to give this mugre election up to them." "No, but mommy, I am scared." And she continued, I know, that's why our Lord wants you to go to him." I kept saying, I am scared in my head. I wanted desperately for her to hear me, wanted her to just listen, like I wanted her to listen when I was scared 23 years before, alone in my dorm, afraid because the student from Lubbock across the hall told me I was going to hell and her Odessa, Texas boyfriend smeared dog shit on my car. But mommy stopped talking to me back then, after she found out that I was one of la otras, a lesbian. I told her again, "Mommy, I'm scared of all the hate in the world right now." And she interrupted, "Mijita, I'm praying for our world, praying for the evil." And I remember when I was told by a praying man that I was evil for being a lesbian, a disgrace, disgusting, committing mortal sin. Then I remembered that our soon-to-be president and his posse said those same words about me and all my queer and transgender hermanas and hermanos, my brown, black, Muslim familia, my sisters and mi gente coming to the U.S. for dreams of quiet skies and rest. Then I remembered, my mommy is not the mean man I am afraid of. She loves me, but somewhere in all the battles she had to fight, between being punished for speaking Spanish, degraded by her white teachers, segregation, Vietnam, ovarian cancer, the Cold War, multiple sexual assaults from superiors, her lesbian daughter, and the things she has packed away behind surviving the hits and blows, somewhere she became so scared that she stopped fighting. I reminded myself that my mommy has come a long way, gone through a lot, loves my wife, my daughters, and me very much, so I tried again. "I'm scared, mommy," I said. And our daughters are scared too. They're afraid too. This time I thought my mommy would understand because she knows what it feels like to love her babies so much you'd kill for them, you'd live for them, you'd fight for them. She held my brother to her chest and promised to leave this country if he was called away to the Vietnam War. She felt the way I feel today, so I tried again. "Mommy, I'm scared of Donald Trump and all the hateful people he's making more mad and more mean," I said. But something wouldn't let her hear me. Something wouldn't let the fear in, and she interrupted again before I could continue. "Mijita, we have to pray." I just wanted her to say she was going to come over, maybe make me caldo, sit with me, but she didn't. I wanted her to say she was ready to fight for me, but she didn't. The mocos broke up into my nose, and I tried to tell her how scared I was again, but she kept praying and telling me it would be okay. And under my breath on the side of the phone, I thought, but I'm scared, mommy. I was scared to hold Erika's hand at the grocery store yesterday, mommy, just getting out of the car. And I wanted to tell her that I let go of my wife's hand in the parking lot when a huge pickup truck pulled up in front of us because I imagined someone jumping out to beat us with a 2x4, like I had seen done before to a transgender woman on Main and Evergreen on her knees. I wanted to cry and release my fears, but she couldn't hear. She told me again, "Mija, it will be okay," and started to say goodbye. "Tell Erika and the girls I love them, mija." And I wanted her to stay on the phone so I could tell her why I was even afraid to go to the bathroom alone at the grocery store. Afraid someone would tell me I couldn't go to the women's bathroom, but she didn't hear me. She told me it would be okay and to pray. It is not okay. It is not okay. It was not okay when the old white man told me and my wife, "Let me take you both home to feel what a real dick feels like." It was not okay when the male coach told me at a pep rally he wanted to, quote, "rip the principal's red leather pants off and fuck her in the custodial closet." It was not okay when my young gay student was tormented by groups of boys near the library over and over until one day he never returned to school, only to hear he died in the bathroom of causes we were never told, but a rope burn around his neck. It was not okay the day we realized there needed to be a suicide hotline just for LGBTQ kids. It was not okay when we realized we needed another hotline just for transgender kids because the suicide numbers were so high.
Not okay.
It was not okay when my wife's ex-husband found it easy and foolproof to use our racist and homophobic laws to threaten her with the custody of our children and deportation.
Not okay. Not okay.
It was not okay when our friend's daughter was being poked on her breasts in school hallways and a football player threatened to text naked pictures of her body to him or else he'll do it again and poke her somewhere else.
Not okay.
It was not okay when an adult man dragged my 13-year-old body to the beach, jammed his hand into my pants and my face into his, and it wasn't okay the other 3 times the same thing happened, at 6, 11, and 16. It was not okay when our other daughter's roommate was raped in her dorm building by a swimmer at a Texas university and he got a slap on the hand. She dropped out of school because she was pregnant.
Not okay.
It was not okay when I held my father's gun to my head because I believed my fat, raped, ridiculed body was dirty and ugly and my soul was not worthy of walking this world.
Not okay.
And it is not okay that when you started reading this, another woman was sexually assaulted in the U.S. and since then, 2 more. And before you are done, at least 1 more will be raped, grabbed, beat against their will, or hit. It is not okay. So do not tell me it is. I am scared. I am fueled. And I have a right to be. And I am not just going to pray. And I am not going to let you leave here thinking it's okay. I am going to yell right back at the man who comes at me next time. I am going to gather people together so we can take this patriarchy down alive. I am going to give my gente a safe place to land. I am going to write my truths until someone listens. I am going to walk you to your car so no one can lay a hand on you. And I am going to be a phone call away when you want to tell me how scared you are or you just want to talk about your scars. This is not okay. And if you don't believe me, read this again.
Thank you, Modi. I mean, these are the stories. This isn't strange to us that are gathered here today, right? These are our families. These are our brothers and sisters. This is what we've come to expect as normal and condoned now from the very top of political office. So what I want to do is invite, we've got a couple other speakers here. I don't know if Judith Norman, are you nearby? Yeah, can you step forward? And then Kamala Platt, be ready. Rebecca Flores, nearby. Thank you. Judith Norman, Jewish Voice for Peace. Thank you.
Thank you. This is great coming out here. I am here because last week Donald Trump issued an executive order categorizing my Judaism as a sort of national identity. Thanks, Mr. Trump. He tells us this is about Jewish security. It's true that it's a scary time to be Jewish. Anti-Semitism is growing. Jews are the targets of hate crimes. Just last week, a major politician in a public speech called Jews not nice people and brutal killers and brought in the classic Nazi image of Jews as money grubbers. That politician was Donald Trump. Trump's president has been a boon for anti-Semitic white supremacist terror groups, which have been growing for the past 3 years. And white nationalist organizations are pretty pleased about this executive order. So you'll excuse my skepticism that Trump is in any way concerned with Jewish security. You might wonder why white supremacist groups want to see Judaism as a nationality. It's because they want the U.S. to be a white Christian nation. They want to brand non-white, non-Christians as somehow foreigners. To them, Jews don't really belong in the U.S. Jews belong in, well, Israel. And this is the heart of the matter. If Judaism gets tied to nationalism, then Trump can argue that anyone who criticizes the self-declared Jewish state is inherently anti-Semitic. Can you see how dangerous this is? Trump is trying to criminalize the Jews. Trump has warped the protections our country has put in place to protect civil rights. He's weaponized them into tools to attack anyone critical of the politics of this other country. Then he claimed this is a way of protecting Jews while keeping up a barrage of anti-Semitic rhetoric and giving ideological support to white nationalists. This is not good for the Jews. This is an attack on the Constitution and our constitutional right to free speech. That is not good for the Jews. It is an attack on international law and the UN, which is trying to enforce international law, including in Israel, trying to enforce the Geneva Conventions, which were put in place to keep people from being Nazis. It is not good for the Jews to have these conventions and international law attacked. It's not good for my Palestinian brothers and sisters who are suffering under unheard and increasing oppression. That is not good for the Jews either. We need to talk about Trump's foreign policy. Foreign policy advisors are, he is in league with Christian Zionist white evangelicals who believe that he is fulfilling biblical prophecy. They see him as the fulfillment of the Bible and not the nice bits of, not the Sermon on the Mount Bible. They think he is fulfilling the end-time prophecies that Christ will come when the Jews are in Jerusalem and burn the non-Jews in lakes of fire. That's what they're in this for. They take this Bible prophecy as foreign policy prescriptions, and it's working. Moving the embassy to Jerusalem is part of their end times game plan. Annexing the West Bank is going to be part of their end times game plan. They don't care about climate change because they don't think the world is going to be around much longer. These people are using these as foreign policy prescriptions, and they are powerful, and they are seeing their way through using Trump. This is in our backyard. This is John Hagee and the Cornerstone Church. This is on our watch. This is in our neighborhood. We need to come together. We need to get serious about foreign policy. We need to understand that criminalizing free speech is not good for the Jews. We need to stand up to this bullying. We need to stand up to this brutality. We need to stand in solidarity with the oppressed everywhere, including in Palestine. This is what is good for the Jews. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's see, I want to bring up a friend of mine, I think Kamala Platt. I saw your face. There's a lot of manifestations, a lot of rolling down the hill when you have such a sickness gripping the country. It pops up in places sometimes you don't expect, but I know we feel it in our families and we feel it across our country here. Kamala is doing some excellent work as a poet and as a scholar, drawing lines between these spaces, and I want to invite her in. She's got a tool, someone's sharing a tool, so I don't know, this may be experimental work. Oh, it's a flashlight. Okay, good. We wanted flashlights. It's safe. Everybody stand down, right? Kamala. It's a little feedback to stand over here.
Well,
yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry I had to.
Dump Trump! 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 Dump Trump!
Okay. Yeah, I'm all for impeachment too, but beyond impeachment and get him out of there, we need to repair and we need to heal. And we've been hurting for a long time. I'm going to read a poem from 2008 when I was living down on the border. And people may know that there was a previous wall building at that time, But what a lot of people don't know, that there were also waivers, and those waivers are still in place. And not only are those waivers still in place, but those same laws, environmental laws, laws of protection, laws of religious freedom are being violated even in this city. And I live about 6 blocks from Elmendorf Park, where the Bird Island has been destroyed, and several of those laws, a lot of us feel, have been broken. So I'm going to need your help on this, and I know you can do it. This is a found poem, and when we get to the chorus part, the chorus is high illegal entry. It's actually from the Chertoff, the security guy, when he made the waivers. But we've got high illegal entry on our rights today. So that's how this poem sort of works. So the first part is, I suppose, some gratitude to a poem by Allen Ginsberg way back on Calaveras. But it's called April Litany of Fools Waivers, an elegy found in the words of Secretary of Homeland Security with Greek chorus. Said the Archangel Calavera in 2008, on April Fool's Day, you'll remember the date. In order to deter illegal crossings, there is presently a need to construct fixed and mobile barriers in the vicinity of the border of the United States. Said the Archbishop Calavera in 2008, on April Fool's Day, you'll remember the date. In order to ensure expeditious construction of barriers and roads that Congress prescribed in the area of high illegal entry, I have determined that it is necessary that I exercise the authority that is vested in me. Accordingly, I hereby waive in their entirety with respect to the construction of roads and fixed and mobile barriers, including but not limited to accessing the project area, that's the wall, crossing and using staging areas, the conduct of earthwork, excavation, fill, site preparation and installation, upkeep of roads, fences, supporting elements, safety features, surveillance, drainage, erosion controls, communication and detection equipment of all types, radar and radio towers and lighting luz in the project area, all federal, state, and other laws, regulations, and legal requirements of deriving from or related to the subject of the following laws as amended. There's a bunch of them. So after each law, I need the chorus. Let's start on the first one, NEPA, the National Environmental Policy Act, high illegal entry, the Endangered Species Act, the Federal Water Pollution Control Act, commonly referred to as the Clean Water Act, the National Historical Preservation Act, the Migratory Bird Treaty Act, the Clean Air Act, the Archaeological Resources Protection Act, the Safe Drinking Water Act. Y'all doing great. We got a ways to go. The Noise Control Act, the Solid Waste Disposal Act, as amended by the Resource Conservation Act and Recovery Act, the Comprehensive Environmental Response, Compensation, and Liability Act, the Archaeological and Historical Preservation Act, the Antiquities Act, the Historical Sites, Buildings, and Antiquities Act, the Farmland Protection Policy Act, the Coastal Zone Management Act, the Federal Land Policy and Management Act, the National Wildlife Refuge System Administration Act, the Fish and Wildlife Act of 1956, the Fish and Wildlife Coordination Act, the Administrative Protective Act, the Rivers and Harbors Act of 1899, the Eagle Protection Act, the Native American Graves Protection and Reparations Act, the American Indian Religious Freedom Act, the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, the Federal Grant and Cooperative Agreement Act of 1977. I reserve the authority to make further waivers from time to time, and they've been made as I may determine to be necessary, said the Archangel Calavera in 2008. April Fool's was the date. Thank you all very much.
Thanks, Kamala. And I'm hoping Rebecca Flores with Interfaith Welcome Coalitions nearby. I want to point out, we mentioned some Native Graves Act. Over here, there's a little screen, right? You can't see the Alamo there. There's currently a federal lawsuit that the American Indians of Texas, the Spanish colonial missions have brought. This is a cemetery. This is a grave. And the state is trying to, tear it up, build it out, pave over it as a tourist attraction, as more Disneyfication of this space. And we need to honor our ancestors and the original people of this land. So let's draw that mention in here, because we know that Donald Trump doesn't give a, I don't know where I am, but he doesn't give a goddamn for any people of color, especially Native people who try to assert their rights. And that's why he's blazing this wall and bullying Democrats, and Democrats are caving to give it to him, to carve through this continent, a land of migration, a land of wildlife, of people who've consistently, one of the longest and largest migratory corridors in the world. And so with respect and honor, as you walk by and as we walk back to our cars, reflect on where we are. This is native land, and we started off with recognition. We're going to end it that way. But I'm really honored to be able to introduce Rebecca Flores, Interfaith Welcome Coalition, to speak to some of this as well.
Thank you, my friends. Kamala did us a great service by listing the 40 laws. Isn't that right? 40 laws that Trump thinks he's above, by waiving all those laws so he can build that damn wall. That damn wall that every one of you knows is going to be already breached. Little old late, I'm challenging all of you who look like me, who are 77, like me, years old, to go and climb that wall and take pictures. We can do it. We can do it, and we will do it, because it's insane, and all really he's doing is just dividing, creating the seeds for division. That's really all he's doing. He knows we can climb that wall. So Kamala's 40 laws that he's already waived, to build that insane wall, but he's also done some terrible things to human beings, too, because with this immigration, all the bans on the asylum system that we have seen happen since he's been in office, they are constant. They are on a daily basis. Here in San Antonio, we receive immigrants who are on their way to their families. And in the last what, three months, maybe less, there has been a total decrease, almost 100%, of people from Central America. We see no Central Americans coming through here anymore, and no Mexicans coming through here anymore. And it's not because those countries have gotten safe, right? As he says, those countries are now safe, they can stay there. It's because he is keeping them in Mexico, along the border. No one, you all know that the border, especially Nuevo Laredo, Tamaulipas, is now almost as dangerous as Syria. You know that. They send out these travel bans that you shouldn't go there, you shouldn't go there, and yet he's keeping these folks who can file for asylum in this country because of fear in their own countries. He's keeping them along that border. It is inhumane. It is killing people. It is killing people. It is killing people. The cartels kidnap them. They extort them for money from those poor people, and they sell everything they have in their homeland. They sell everything. They beg, borrow, and steal to get free from the kidnappers, and they give them whatever money they can get together. We should not stand for this. And so alone for immigration, we should get this guy impeached, because he's killing people right now, this minute. And there are people that look like us, and there's little people, there's children, and what we see right now are people from the Congo and from Africa, from Haiti, the Congo and Angola, who are coming here, who have been traveling for years trying to get away from those things that are happening in their country. And they've been in South America. They've all learned Spanish now. If you can believe, that's how many years they've had babies in South America. And now they're presenting themselves here. But you know he's limiting the number of refugees also to 18,000 a year. And so he's limiting every person of color. He does not want people of color in this country. Well, you know what? I'm here, right? And I'm a person of color. Thanks be to God. So what I'm saying is that all of us have a fight on our hands. And we have got to get rid of that guy. And along with him is Cruz and Cardin, who are his lapdogs. There's not one thing that he says that they don't like. They're sitting in his lap all day long, voting, and yet nodding on yes on everything that he says. They're puppets. They're lapdogs. They're like little lapdogs sitting on his lap. That's a horrible thought. It's the truth. I say lock all of them up. We need to get rid of them, and we need to impeach them, and then next year we got to clean out the Senate, and so we can get the Senate back to us. Thank you.
Oh man, I'm sorry about that feedback. By request, we had someone who wanted to speak about organizing politically, electorally, and then we're going to close it out with some just last-minute directions. But to a new friend, I'm going to turn it over.
Thank you. My name is Don Kahn. I'm a precinct chair for the Democratic Party here in San Antonio, and I'm here talking, offering my community, and that's what I'm here for representing my community. Here's what we need to do. We need to do some more tangible things, okay? This is great. Our gathering is great. This is beautiful. All the things that we just talked about are significant and important, and we need to save our country from demise. I mean, this is really a critical moment in our history, and we need to be together, and we need to impeach Trump. But the other thing we need to do is we need to organize. We need to go. We need precinct chairs. There's many precinct chairs throughout the state of Texas and surrounding area here who are empty. They don't have any precinct chairs. We need voter registrars. We need people to get out and register voters. You know, we need to speak out. When we finally have a nominee from the Democratic Party, we need to speak out. We need to be influential in the platform that person adopts. You know, if we don't talk about it, we don't raise holy hell with them, they'll go the way of what's always been. But it's our turn. We're progressives. We are millennials. We are Gen X's. We are old folks like me, you know, who've been there, experienced the movements and seen what people coming together can do. We can make a difference. All of us can make a difference. And so what we have to do is we have to organize, and we have to operate from the same truth. Because if we don't, all these beautiful things that we've just talked about, they're impossible. Because we are divided. And if we're divided, we can't solve the problems like climate change, healthcare, inequity, pay inequity, a living wage. We need a living wage. So this is what we need in America today. We need the American dream to come back alive for so many people that are being left behind. 50% of the people in America are suffering. They do not make ends meet. You know, there's people working 2-3 jobs. Why? Because they don't have a living wage. You know, people are going bankrupt because they can't pay for their health care. You know, we need universal health care. That you talk about tax breaks, that'll be the biggest tax break in American history. You know, so I ask you folks, get alive, get involved with the candidate of your choice, Democratic, candidate of your choice, or the party, you know, is nominated, and we have to stand up, and even for our local elections and our statewide elections, we have to go out and fight for those people. We need to knock on doors. We need to do the things that are necessary to make this democracy thrive. Because if we don't, because 50% of the people that are eligible to vote don't vote. So what are we doing? We're walking away. We're washing our hands, and so we get what we get. We get what we get. You know. So we got to operate from the same truth. Everybody on the same page, working to save our country. Dump Trump! 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 Dump Trump!
Okay, you guys, we're going to close out here. I do want to offer a couple directions and some encouragement. Again, my name is Greg Harmon. I work with the Sierra Club. Historically, people think about the Sierra Club as we talked about Ansel Adams portraits and land cleared of original peoples. That's changed, thankfully, from the eugenics of 100 years ago to where we are today, standing with frontline communities, working on issues that matter the most, the people who are impacted the most. We're in a moment right now with climate change, and I think everybody is aware. Did somebody say louder? Am I not loud? Where we really, this is, you know, we've gotten used and numb to hearing about the existential threat that we're under right now. But I will tell you that if we do not move this administration or take crazy command at the grassroots level, we are being driven into Armageddon. And we don't need this stuff with Israel and the evangelicals and all these secret cabals that are being done. We're doing it every time we fire up our coal plant at Calaveras Lake. And so the work that I do is primarily around communities impacted, health communities in San Antonio, climate, and this fucking coal plant. Okay, because that's 8 million metric tons of CO2 going out every year in a city that produces less than 18. It's a monster, and we've got to get it shut down because they're not doing it in Washington. We have to do it here. So that's my plug for that. And I do want to encourage folks, and I'm sorry I'm standing in this feedback, but it's just so much of my heart is open to y'all and so touched by the messages that we've had here today. And the violence and the devastation is something to watch and something to experience. And so this is where it ends. This is where we decide. We've come out and we've marched and we've rallied and we've listened patiently to people that you got some of it right, you didn't get some of that. I wish you would have said it something else. But you know, that's where we are. You know, we're a big collective. But we're here again because we care about one another. We care about people that we haven't met. We believe people have dignity, that children have rights, that all people, regardless of color, or creed, or sexual orientation, you know, have that. And we're going to fight for it. And it doesn't stop tonight. But I am going to encourage folks, as we do break, I had one recommendation as a close, but when we do break, please, if you parked over here where we started in that direction, let's walk back together or find a small group that you're familiar with, that you came here with or got to know, and head back together. Because the violence may not happen in the march. The cowards come and hit you in the shadows. And I don't mean to scare anybody, but use common sense walking out of this space. And however you feel about this, someone said, can we sing God Bless America? It's up to the group, others maybe not. So I'm gonna cut the mic and let people close out in a way that's most comfortable for them. But I do want to say I honor the people of this land. I honor all of you that are here today. And I say if we commit to one another, continue the struggle, you know, the lucha sigue. And the San Antonio Police Department,
watching the lanes for us.
Thank you.
But probably also, primarily, I want to point out the Brown Berets who've been marching with us, been vigilant, had their heads on a swivel the whole time, and I know you guys have been checking with them. So thank you to them also, and to all of you for being cool, to coming in with your message and delivering it with dignity and respect for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Greg.
If whoever wants to sing can sing. I did? I don't remember.
You need help with anything? No. Just right there. Go say hi to Patricia real quick and I'll go. God bless America. God bless America. Land of the free.
Where we put the letters?
Oh, great. Actually, are you walking back?
I can collect them, yeah.
Okay. Justin can help.
Okay.
If anybody else is walking back, they can come back.
How do you not have any damn trash cans on?